Okay guys, so today I have a crazy video for you guys that's going to be a full Facebook ad blueprint. You could almost call this thing a Facebook ad course, but from what I've seen, this video is probably going to be worth a ton of money that you will be able to watch for free on my channel. So when I started out dropshipping, I used to pay for courses, I used to pay for coaching, I used to pay for a lot of stuff, and I summarized all of that into this video with my own tactics and everything, because my strategy is truly my own strategy, and I'll tell you guys from the courses that I've been through, this is something you would get in like a $5,000 course. So if you really pay attention, if you have a couple of minutes here to actually watch the whole video, your whole life can change. This video is crazy. This is definitely the best video I've ever made on my channel, so you guys better be excited, you better stay tuned, and you better smash the thumbs up button. Please click the like button and make sure you subscribe. I'm the Ecom boss, and in today's video we have a full Facebook ad blueprint, a full Facebook ad course. It's going to teach you guys everything. This video is going to be a little bit advanced. I'm just making that as a disclaimer before we get into this, but it's definitely going to be a little bit beginner friendly as well. I at least hope. I mean, we're going to go over everything. So if you want to get into the dropshipping coaching program, you can message me on Instagram here. I actually have a couple of spots open now, and it's been a huge success so far. So if you want to get in, Instagram right here, send me a message. If not, just follow me, and I'm not going to waste any of you guys' time. So let's just get straight into my computer and I'll show you guys everything. We're going to be inside of my ads manager. You're going to get to see it all. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, the 2021 Facebook ad blueprint for dropshipping. So we're going to slide over to the second slide already, and I want to show you guys what we're going over in this presentation. So I'll be going over spending limits, especially how to handle a spending limit, because I know a lot of you guys probably struggle with the spending limit on new ad accounts, stuff like that, especially when you get banned and move over to a new one. I have a couple of strategies on how to solve the spending limit issue. We're also going to go over how to test products, analyzing a test result too. We're going to do that inside of my ads manager. I'm going to show you a lot of different scenarios. You're going to learn how to analyze a test, figure out if you're going to continue running the product or if you should just move on and not run the product at all, just move on to a new one. Then we're going to go over how to scale, of course, the early stages of scaling, the more advanced stages of scaling, later in scaling, early scaling. All of that stuff is going to be covered here, so you might as well smash the like. And then we're going to go over when to cut ad sets, which is super important because you know that has a lot to do with your profit. Also when to scale ad sets. We're going to go over creative scaling. We're also going to go over vertical scaling, how it works versus horizontal scaling, when to do what, because it's really frustrating for a lot of people. I see a lot of people horizontal scale when they should vertical, or vertical when they should horizontal scale. Fact is you should do both, but we'll get into that in a second. And also how Facebook works now. Facebook is super broad right now, as I told you guys earlier, so we're going to go over that and how to capitalize, how to be the best guy at Facebook ads in 2021. And we're also going over how to avoid Facebook bans. A couple of basics before we get into the first slide of the presentation is that Facebook is now broad, and that is something I already told you guys, so the strategies are going to be a little bit different from what they used to be a year ago, but I tell you it's going to be a crazy strategy. Facebook will cost you money, so I recommend you $1,000, maybe more. I mean, you can pull it off with less. I've seen a lot of people do it. I've actually had students doing it as well, but I would recommend you to have at least $1,000 though, if I'm going to be honest with you. I also wanted to tell you guys that high ticket products will cost a little bit more. We're typically running a high ticket product as a $20 or $15 in a test, and my strategy is fast paced. I'm really aggressive in my strategies. We will cut stuff early, we will scale early, but obviously not before we are prepared. And I do recommend you guys to not mix strategies. So with all that being said, let's get into the first slide of this course. It's going to be so crazy and I am hyped. This is probably going to be a little repetitive for you guys as well who watch all my videos, but I can guarantee you're going to learn something new, and just watch the whole one because it could change your life. Test products, that's the first slide. How do you test the product? So there are two different scenarios. You can see that they're both pretty similar, but the two different test routes that I could go down, it will be worldwide and top 5. I usually do both actually, at least if I really believe in the product, but it's going to be 7 ad sets. Obviously that's one different interest in each ad set, and that's going to run at $10 a day. Don't run $5 ad sets because it doesn't work too well anymore, and that is going to be the first one at worldwide. That means excluding a couple of countries. You can find those countries, just search up like Facebook exclusion list. You will find that super easy. And then the ages, you just leave it broad, 18 to 65. You could look at that later, and then keep the expand detail targeting on. I know there's a lot of gurus out there that tells you to leave that button off. In my opinion, it's outdated. You don't do that for a test, but eventually later on in the scaling phase, it's super smart to split test that button, which we're going to get into later in this presentation. And then you're going to run with Instagram and Facebook feed for the ads. You could also run stories, but I do recommend you guys to just run the feeds, even though I have a lot of successful friends who runs the stories all the time. And the second route that you guys could go down is the exact same. You're just running the top 5 countries. That means New Zealand, Canada, United States, United Kingdom, and we're also running to Australia. Worldwide has always worked way better for me. I usually see a way higher ROAS when I go worldwide, and it's just more sales. And you could make a lot of sales in country you didn't know that would produce sales, such as for example Germany. You can make sales to Sweden. You could just make sales to a lot of countries worldwide, right? So why pass out on that? In worldwide could also be cheaper traffic to the United States. I want you guys to test with 1 to 3 creatives. You should definitely have more creatives later on, but in the beginning you can start off with 1 video and 1 to 2 pictures. And it's super important for you guys to have a video for each product. At least in my opinion, videos convert convert super well. And if you don't have that, you're kind of burning your chances. So I would just recommend you guys to get a video, because you are going to spend money on Facebook ads regardless. You might as well get a video because it boosts your chance. So let's say you run a picture with a 50% chance of success. Why would you not run a video with 200% chance of success? Obviously, there's no guarantee for success though. So 7 ad sets running at $10 a day is obviously 7 times 10. That's going to run for $70 a day in total, which means you'll spend $70 on a campaign every single day. So when do you kill a product, you might ask? And I usually kill a product after I spend $70 if there's no sales. On the next slide of this presentation, I'm going to explain to you guys exactly how to analyze the test, so you won't have to worry about that. But if there's no sales, I usually kill it at $70. I'm fast. Okay guys, this video is sponsored by Viral Ecom Ads. I'll tell you guys from experience that this is the best page for you guys to get your video ads, especially in Q4, but these guys are good all over the season. So in a second here, we're gonna look over their webpage. But if you've never bought a video ad before, you know where to get your video ads. I have a link in the description. I've used them for a ton of my products. I can't even count how many times I've used them. They have all different types of video ads, so let's check out their website. And the thing is, if you're not getting good video ads, you're not taking your business serious. It's just the truth. In order to make a lot of money in dropshipping in 2020 or 2021, you will have to have good video ads, and these guys truly deliver. Let's check out a page. So here's the Viral Ecom Ads page. They have the best ads in the entire space, and I've used them a lot of times myself, as I told you guys earlier. It says up here, proven to convert. They even have 2D animation ads, and as you guys can see, the video delivery is 1 to 3 days. But if you're a part of the VIP members, you could just sign up here. You'll actually be able to get your ads in 24 hours. So if you're in a hurry, you need to run up a product before Christmas, you already know where to go. Become a VIP today. You even get 25% off, 24-hour delivery on the weekends, which is not common at all. This just goes to show that these guys really want to provide the best ads for the customers. Even got priority support, and obviously you will be even more prioritized. But if you're not going for that, you will still get the best ads on the entire market. You have one video ad for $40, and obviously the more ads you're buying, the cheaper it's going to get. So I do recommend you guys just stack up a couple of products and just order a higher package, because you will get it cheaper. Let's just say you stack up 10 products, you stack up 5 products, you could go for these. You'll test products more cheap. And also stacking up products, just to give you guys some advice here, why would you rely on only one product? So I do recommend you guys, before you even test a product, just stack up a couple of them. And since it's Q4, they have a special Q4 bundle package, which we're gonna look into right now. So the Q4 bundle is probably the smartest one to go for right now. It's Q4. You want to stand out, especially if you're selling saturated product. If you have a lot of variations, if you have custom content, you have way higher chance of winning with a saturated product. And the Q4 bundle includes the 4 ad split test package, which allows you guys to split test your ads, which I think is super important, because you should always change up the first 5 seconds of your ads, which this package does, because then you'll figure out which ad performs the best and what's grabbing people's attention. So it's always nice for you guys to split test your products, especially in the scaling phase. You'll even get the thumbnails for free with this purchase, which I think is super cool. We all love free stuff. And they even have a story ad, and story ads could be crazy. I've never seen anyone have custom content for a story ad. That could be something you guys can include as well. It truly is the best place to get your ads. If you buy all of these ads separately, that's going to come at $110. So why not get the Q4 bundle? Because that's actually $30 off. You get all of those for $80. So this is probably the smartest one to go for right now. And the coolest part about the Q4 bundle is you get 8 ads for $64 instead of $80. If you use my code ECOMBUS20 when you're buying the ad, you will get 20% off. You'll get it for $64. So as you guys can tell, Viral Ecom Ads is obviously going to be the best place for you guys to get your video ads. I get my ads there all the time. My students have been getting ads there. They've been just been crazy results. So if you want to get some ads that's proven to convert, the best ads in the game, really good pricing, Q4 package, it could be whatever, you already know where to go, to Viral Ecom Ads, because it is the best place on the whole market to get video ads. I get them myself, as I told you guys. So my link is in the description, and use the code ECOMBUS20 for 20% off when checking out. But let's just slide straight into the next page of my presentation. So let's talk about the goals. What's your goal in the early scaling phase? In the early scaling phase, as I told you guys earlier, the first goal is going to be to get 3 sales in one ad set. That is super important. And then the next goal you want to have is you want to get 3 to 5 ad sets to 7+ sales in order to do a CBO. That means you're going to milk some ad sets. Just stay patient with them until they hit like 7 sales. But as I told you guys, you want to have 3 to 5 of them in order to make a good CBO. And then another thing that would be super cool, it's not needed, but it's always a plus if this can happen, that is to have a successful detailed targeting split test. But as I said, it's not super needed, but it's always nice. And you also want to find the dominating creative. You want to find your best creative, which one is going to work the best. Honestly, it's just about finding the good creative, so you know which video or picture is doing the best, because you then eventually, you know, you're going to cut some other ones. Find the ideal audience, figure out the ages, the genders, etc. Not that you have any use for this right now, but it's always nice to know who you are selling to, and have at least 2 to 5 good ad sets. You never want to depend on only one ad set. Even though I told you the story about this crazy guy who made so much money on one ad set, you never want to depend on only one ad set. And you should also have a 4+ ROAS, which you can do on a lot of winning ad set if you have an untapped product. The question I get all the time is, how do I get high ROAS? As you guys can see, first of all, what does ROAS mean? ROAS is a return on ad spend. It's a return, how much you're spending versus how much you're making. So if you spend $10 to make 100, you made 10x your money. That means it's 10 ROAS, right? And I also split tested the detailed targeting button. That's one of the reasons why I get a high ROAS. A lot of people don't split test that button. If you don't split test that button, you're missing out on the chance to get a super high ROAS. And I also do CBOs with higher budgets. CBO is going to be a place where I just see extreme ROAS every once in a while, and also the good pictures and videos. If you don't have good creatives, of course you're not going to get high ROAS, like if you're not using viral Ecom ads. But the product and the interest is the main reason to why my ROAS is so high, because I run untapped products people haven't seen before, and I just make the trends instead of jumping on them. New products with passionate audience and high demand means high ROAS. It's just simple as that. And I'm not going to overcomplicate this video whatsoever. I'll just make it simple for you guys. That's the formula. After hitting the early phase goals, there's going to be a next phase, and this phase is where stuff gets crazy. But I'll tell you, you could almost make 10K a day just in the early phase. I've done it before. But after that, we're getting into the next phase, which is the more advanced scaling phase. It's still pretty simple in my opinion. So one of the things I'll do in that phase is I'll start trying $50 ad sets, and they're usually not too good in my opinion, but some of them are really good. So once the ad set hits like 15 sales, I duplicate a $25 a day ad set to $50. Usually, as I said, the $50 aren't that extreme. I usually like the 25s best, but in some cases the $50 one just takes off. So I do recommend you guys to try it. But why would you have so many sales before you make it $50, you might ask? And honestly, it's just from my experience. Like duplicating from 8 sales to 50 has never really been huge, but once I hit like 15 to 20 sales, it's been way more extreme on the $50 ad set. 3 to 5 ad sets with 7 sales each, as I told you guys earlier, or more than 7 sales means a CBO. That means that you're going to duplicate your 3 to 5 best ad sets into a CBO, and that's going to run at $50 per ad set. That means if you have 3 ad sets in one CBO, that's 50 times 50 times 50, which means 50 times 3, which is $150 a day, because it's 3 ad sets at $50 a day. And if you have 5 ad sets, that's a $250 CBO. And just look at this, guys. This is a CBO. We have some decent ROAS here. This one is bad. We could cut it, but that doesn't matter though. It's not what I'm trying to teach you guys here. But here, you guys can tell we have 4 ad sets. That means this one's running at 50, 50, 50, 50. But they're not running at 50 individually though, but you just pretend they are. But the CBO is a campaign that spends money on the ad set it wants to spend money on. So which means you just give the campaign a budget and it spends on the ad set it wants to spend. And as you can see, it only spent $3 here, and on this ad set it spent 16. Just let Facebook do its job on CBO. And since it's broad, we could always leave it up to Facebook to a certain extent. But that is the CBO. This one is running at $200 a day because it's $50 each ad set, and we have 4 ad sets. CBOs is also vertical. That means you need to just double the budgets. You don't horizontal scale a CBO. You, for example, don't turn stuff off either. CBO is just vertical, which means doubling the budgets all the time, making duplicates like that. And see the next slide here for how I scale CBOs. So how do you scale a CBO? After 4 to 7 days with good results, or is it just a CBO being profitable, I used to just double the budget. You can either edit it or duplicate. I usually do both. I tried, but usually I will duplicate first though, because I'm not taking that risk. First of all, don't be scared of doubling your budget if something is working. It should be pretty safe, and it's a risk you got to take. So there are 2 different strategies on how to double budgets in a CBO. The first one is going to be just duplicating and double the budget. That is obviously a double a budget of a CBO. But another way to double a budget could be if you have 4 ad sets that's running at $200 a day and you cut 2 of them, you now have double the budget. Let's just say you used to spend $200 on 4 ad sets. Well, now you're spending $200 on 2 ad sets. That kind of is a double as well. You guys know what I mean? And don't add stuff in a CBO, as I told you guys earlier, I'm pretty sure, but you don't have to add stuff in a CBO. You don't turn off stuff if it's bad or if it's good. You just make a new CBO. You don't make changes inside of it. CBOs is going to need new ad sets often. So that means you got to make sure you add new ad sets every single day, add new interest every single day to your current campaign, like not the CBO, but the normal campaign. Just add new interest there all the time, or new ad sets. So you have new ad sets in order to make new CBOs all the time. I'm not saying a CBO is going to die out super quick, but CBOs can die out a little bit quick. So that's why you should add 1 to 4 new ad sets every single day in this phase. And make sure you're patient. CBO has a blow up effect, which means if you run a $200 CBO, it could spend $150 with no sales. And once it hits 160, it takes off. It just goes through the roof. So you need to stay patient with your CBO. Just as everything else in life, just stay patient. Don't be scared when you see your money being spent, because the CBO could randomly just blow up. So as I said, we would be analyzing the CBO. It's not too much to say about it, but let's just say that this CBO is doing good. I'll just duplicate it and I'll double the budget. You see the budget right here, $200 a day, duplicate and double, or just make a new CBO when you shut off these 2, for example, the 2 worst ones. And then that's also double the budget. Really simple. New audiences constantly. You always want to have new audiences because, you know, there's a new place to make money. So lookalike audiences is something I get asked about all the time, and I'll explain to you guys what is a lookalike. lookalike. A lookalike audience is basically an audience that looks like your previous customers. If you upload your customer file to Facebook, they will figure out who looks like your customer, what they're engaging with, like what they have in common basically. So you find more people that looks like your normal customers. That obviously means the 1% lookalike in most cases is best because the 1% most accurate. So LAs could be introduced at 100 sales. I would not rush LAs because they're not as good as they used to be, but I just don't stress them because I make a lot of money in CBO and normal scaling. But you could start at 100 sales if you want to. But if you want to run purchase LLAs, you need 600 sales to run it. The powerful thing about having purchase LLAs is you could take your LLAs for this particular product and just run LLAs on another product that looks similar. Or let's just say you have a lot of LLAs in skincare for acne. You can now run a blackhead remover with your LLAs and it's most likely going to do good. That's why data is everything, right? You need to warm up your LLAs. That means you start with video views and then you move on to add to cart LLAs and then you move on to initiate checkout lookalikes and then eventually purchase later. Just don't jump straight into purchase. And I actually make most of my money without LLAs. I used to make a lot of money with LLAs a couple of years ago, but now I don't make too much money in them. There's obviously money in it, but I made most in a normal campaign and I find it way cooler. You can also retarget at 50 sales. I usually don't retarget too much, but I will probably wait till 100 sales, but you can do it at like 40 to 50 sales. But once you get 100, why not just run a retargeting campaign? It's an opportunity for you to just make a lot of money randomly. And as I told you guys earlier, if you want to find new audience, you could also just duplicate an ad set without changing anything. Just make a normal duplicate, as I said, that allows you guys to find new people in the audience. So how do I creative scale? Because creatives is everything, right? You need to duplicate your 3 to 5 best ad sets into a new campaign and then put 5 to 10 creatives under the ad set. So let's just say I have 5 ad set, they have 5 sales each and they have a decent ROAS. I'll duplicate them into a new campaign and I'll put like 5 pictures under it and like 5 videos just to figure out which video is doing the best. So after a couple of days, I will see how it plays out. I'll figure out which ads are doing the best. You're going to judge this based on your CTR, your click-through rate, what's getting the most click-throughs, which ad has the highest click-through percentage. And then once you figure out which one is your best ad, you can now bring your good creatives back into your old campaigns. But you obviously don't add a creative, you duplicate and add them because you always duplicate, right? And I introduce new creatives once a week. It's super important to just introduce creatives all the time because people have an effect, right? If you see something one time, you're not interested. The third time, you're still not interested. The 5th time, you're looking at it. And the 10th time, you buy it. You just went from not interested to interested. Just keep pushing it into their faces and then just make new creatives. And new creatives could be super good for retargeting too. You're showing the customers that didn't buy something new. Facebook spending limit's been a huge problem for a lot of people. And I know that. Facebook can set a spending limit for $50 on new accounts, which is a super boring problem, especially if you get like a spending limit right before Black Friday. If you see this, you just need to realize that you can't always change this immediately. You need to work your way up there to get a higher spending limit. Spend your budget daily is the first step and spend often. You want to be a frequent spender on Facebook, just show them that you're feeding them money. And then eventually, once you're spending some money for maybe a week, let's say, you can go to payment settings and try to increase your spending limit. And I usually increase from 50 to 150 to 350 to 500. And you just follow that, until you have a really high spending limit. I suggest you guys to wait a week before increasing, as I told you guys earlier. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I rarely have a spending limit on my new accounts. Even though it's a brand new account, I rarely see this issue. And if an ad set says learning, because I get this question a lot of times, just want to knock it out here real quick. If an ad set says learning, it doesn't really matter if it's learning or active. Don't care too much about it. But if it's out of the learning phase, that's super good. So what I want you guys to take away from this video is that CBOs is everything on Facebook now, but you need to deserve them. You need to work your way up to a CBO. But once you hit a CBO, it could really blow up and you need to stay patient with your ads. You need to cut ads at the right time too. If you're scared about cutting, which might sound strange to you watching right now because you're probably scared about spending, eventually once you have something pop off, you could even be scared about cutting. You need to cut when you need to cut. You need to scale when you need to scale. And if it's a lot of money, you should still make that CBO because it could change your whole life. Just stay a little bit patient because randomly it could really blow up. So I hope you guys like the fact that I showed you guys a little bit inside of the ads manager. The results been crazy lately as well. It's been Q4. It's just the biggest opportunity ever in dropshipping in 2021. I don't think the opportunity has ever been bigger. So if you want to make a lot of money, like you need to stay in dropshipping now. And I know that all of you guys watching, you can make this work. Like dropshipping, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be so worth it. And I just feel like the life you get when you win is way more worth it than I thought. When I was sitting in my parents' bedroom grinding like years ago, I imagined this life to be crazy, and it was crazy, but it's even more crazier than you think. So you just got to stay on it. Just watch my videos and learn how to scale. And I also have a course that is pretty cheap. I'm never plug it, so why not just plug it here because I rarely do it. The course obviously covers way more than this video does as well. It just has everything. So if you're looking to just take off with Ecom, the course is pretty cheap. It's in the description and it could probably change your whole life. The testimonials being crazy. So you could get it if you want to. If not, that's totally cool because we just provide a ton of free value here. So I hope you like this video. Once again, I'm the Ecom boss. It's a pleasure having you here in the channel. If you like what you see, which you obviously do because I look pretty really good, you might as well just hit the thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all of you guys' support. Just be the best version of yourself. If you just stay in the game, as I told you guys, you're going to get there eventually. 2 years ago, I was not good at ads or anything, but it ended up working out. So I'm wishing you guys the best for Christmas. If you're not celebrating Christmas, I wish you the best. Just have a great weekend, guys. Make sure to smash the thumbs up and subscribe. I probably already said that, but I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. My YouTube channel is going to be crazy now. I promise you guys, it's going to be better content than ever, and I know for a fact that I give a lot of value, so just wait until you see the next videos. It's going to be crazy. Peace.